Hey everybody, welcome back. This week's going to be a little different. So I'm still going to be doing song lessons and my normal thing all the time, but I also wanted to give you an opportunity to see some vintage gear up close. I've got a lot of it back here, and there's one that I just recently got. This is a JMI Vox AC30, 1965-ish, and I'll tell you why I'm saying 1965-ish in a little bit. So what I'm going to do is tell the story a little bit about how I found this amp, give you all the details and a close-up of what's going on with this thing. There's a lot of interesting things happening with this particular amp. And I also want to give you a tour of how the control system works on it, because it's actually very different from all the amps I've ever had in my life, which were sort of mostly Fender-based, Marshall, like the set of knobs and the EQs and everything. This is completely different. I had no idea. No idea. Even different than the modern Voxes. This is completely different. And so I'm going to take you through all of that. And then sounds. So it's just going to be hearing all of the channels and all of the different sounds on many different guitars. So if that's what you tuned in for, just use the chapters and just go right to that. If you don't want to hear my yapping, that's fine. All right, so if this is the kind of thing that you like and you haven't done so yet, please click subscribe and ring the bell. The bell will let you know when I drop new content, which I do every single week. And like I said, all my lessons have chapters in them, so it allows you to jump right to the part of the lesson that you want to see and bypass what you don't. And if you're looking for other ways to support the channel, I appreciate that. There's thanks, which is like throwing a tip in the tip jar. Or you can join my Patreon page, where I've got chord charts and tabs for all the song lessons that I do on YouTube, and the link's in the description. Check it out. So I found somebody that had this thing, and it was advertised as a 1966 Vox AC30. And it caught my eye, number one, because it was priced way lower than what a lot of them were, and when I zoomed in on the picture, I'm like, oh, okay. So one of the reasons why, and I love gear, frankly, I love gear that sort of has been beat up and is sort of like the bastard stepchild, and I don't know, I like taking those in. So I looked real close, and there's a lot of things going on with this. So somebody had taken all of the vinyl, the Tolex, off this thing, except for the front. And they stripped it all off, and they stripped all the glue, and they put a dark sort of brown finish on it. Anyway, this guy did it, or somebody did it in its life. And that's one reason why it was priced so low. If you look at sort of the top, the control panel up here, it's pretty beat up. This is in no way any kind of mint condition amp. And when you go around the back, you also see this other interesting sort of curious thing. You see this additional transformer that's on the bottom there. And long story short, when I took that into the shop, the guys at British Audio, they had a look at it here, and basically it's a power up transformer, and what it's doing is it's taking the signal from the wall, the 120 volts that come out of the wall roughly, and it boosts it up to 240, and the whole thing on the inside, so then the circuit actually runs off of 240. Don't exactly know why, but yeah, so that's something that's a little different that would put off some people. Not all the screws are there. The Vox badge wasn't there. That's a reissue I put on there. And anyway, this is aftermarket. It's just not a mint condition. But it sounds great, right? So one of the first things that I discovered about this when I was playing it at home now is actually how the control panel is laid out. And frankly, it's different. It's totally different than how a normal sort of Fender, Marshall, front-facing set of knobs are that you have to work with. So let me take you across this, and let me show you how this works, okay? So here, what you have is 6 inputs, okay? The first set of inputs, you can think of the inputs as running vertically this way. There's a low channel and a high channel. And you've seen those in, Fenders or you've seen them in Marshall. There's a low gain and a higher gain input. And that's what we have here. It's a lower and a higher. And this is one channel. This is the vibrato / tremolo channel, vibe trem, they call it. Then the next one over is called the normal channel, low and high. And then the next one over is called a brilliant channel, low and high. And what's interesting here is when you look across the knobs, the way that they're organized, it becomes very clear there's not like a set of like bass and treble and mid-range control and that applies across all of them. That's not what happens here at all. And here's what I mean. So let's look at the vibe trem channel for starters, right? So here's where you're plugging it in. The first set of knobs that you're coming to, and one of them is broken off, this controls the vibrato and the tremolo. And we'll hear it in just a minute. And then this is the volume for it. Forget all these other knobs right now. The only other knob that comes into play, that will come into play across all of the channels, is this guy on the end. This is called a top cut, or a top roll off. It just sort of takes, it changes the top end of the EQ curve, and you can just set it to have more high end or low or less high end coming through. And now let's look at the normal channel. The normal channel now is the second volume knob. There's 3 volume knobs here. So this is the vibrato. This is the normal channel. So here's your volume for the normal channel. And again, here's the top cut, which you can play around with. But that's it. That's all there is. So they voice this vibrato channel a certain way, and you can play with the top cut. They voice this normal channel a certain way, and you can play with the top cut a little bit. And then you get to the brilliant channel. And on AC30s, the brilliant channel is voiced with a little more top end to it, a little more treble. Here's the volume control for that. This is a top boost model, so it comes with 2 additional EQ controls for treble and bass. And they only apply to the brilliant channel, all right? So these knobs will do nothing. No matter what you do with them, they'll do nothing if you're plugged into the normal channel or the vibrato channel, all right? And the actual top cut actually works on the brilliant channel as well, okay? So that's how it works. Now, let's start hearing how it sounds. So I'm going to use my Telecaster across all of them. And then when we get to the top boost channel or the brilliant channel with all the top boost goodness, I'll do a bunch of other guitars with it, so you can see that too, because that's what we all want to see and hear, right? I'm miking this. Well, I'll leave all the details in the description. I've got it running through my Power Station attenuator, so that I can actually turn this thing up and give you a sense of what I'm hearing in the room. All those details will be in the description below. Okay, so let's start with the vibe trem channel. I'm hearing the high input, so these back here are the high inputs, these are the low inputs. I'm going to go into the vibe trem and I'm just going to turn up the volume. And I'm going to turn the volume to about, let's just call that 6 out of 10 or 6.5 out of 10. What this has right now at the moment is it's on vibrato. Let me turn it back this way. Okay, so this is vibrato. And this is altering the pitch up and down slightly. On this amp, the way the controls work for the vibe trem is you have 3 speeds, and that's it. You don't have the ability to change the depth You don't have the ability to change the speed in a sort of clean way all the way across. You have three options. You have slow, medium, and fast. And you better like it. You better like one of them, because that's all you have, right? So this is the slow for vibe. Let's check out medium. Okay, that's the medium. And here's the fast speed. Okay, so you get a sense for that. So that's vibrato. Now let's take this, I'll put it back to slow. I'm going to change it from vibrato to tremolo. Right, so that's that. You don't have the ability to round that out like you do on tremolo pedals and things, so that's slow. Here's medium. Right, so that's medium. Here's fast. Okay, so that's the sounds you get. You better like one of them if you like that. You know, if I goose the volume more, I'm up here around 8 or 9. Right, pretty cool. But noticeably, you'll see it's noticeably quieter than the other channels, by the way. It could be a perceived thing with the tremolo, but I don't think so. I think it's just flat out quieter. Okay, so let's get off the vibrato channel. And by the way, when you do that, turn your vibrato volume down, because if you don't, you'll hear it on the next channel. So that bleeds over. Anyway, so turn your vibrato channel down. And I'm going to turn my normal up. I'm about 5.5. You can already sort of hear the chime that they talk about a little bit coming out. You know, you can play with the top cut a little bit. That's with all the treble on it, and that's with some of the top rolled off. That's with all of it rolled off, actually. I'm going to bring it back here. All right, so that is 5.5. Let's go to about 7. Great clarity. This thing loves single coil pickups, by the way. You'll find out when I demo some of the other guitars. I think the single coils really sing through this. It wants to see single coil. So what is it dimed? So that's the normal channel. Freaking cool. And you'd probably say to yourself, that's great, until you heard the top boost channel, the brilliant channel. So let's plug it in there. I've got all my other volumes down. Now I'm going to roll up my volume here to about 5. Way more treble, right? Now I'm going to bring these bass and volume and treble controls in. So that's about the setting. I like the bass and treble sort of. Oh, I got them. They're sort of like that. But the brilliant channel is there to just more treble, right? It's the cut through and then the top boost circuit, which is added on to the brilliant channel, because there are non-top boost versions of AC30s. It does have a brilliant channel, which is voiced for higher treble, but not as much it doesn't offer these other sort of EQ controls. All right, that is not even 5. Let's go to about 6. Take it up to about 7. Top end just cuts through. Pretty damn good. Let's just dime it. bridge pickup on a Tele, right? All right, well, that's a Tele. Let's run that top boost channel through a bunch of these guitars and let's see what it sounds like. you go. So anyway, if you're still with me, I appreciate it. If you're still watching right now, it's because you're super interested in Vox AC30s and all the history. And I wanted to acknowledge a couple people here. Number one, a lot of the information I got was from this fantastic book by Jim Alea. I probably just murdered his name. But if you can find this out there, if you're interested in this, this is a $85 super heavy, but it's the Bible in terms of the research that was done on JMI era Vox amps. And great piece of work that he did. And this is actually borrowed from my friend Zach Childs, Ask Zach, who lives in the same town as I do here in Franklin, Tennessee. And if you're looking for another great resource on just AC30s in general, if you haven't already, check out the 5-Watt World video that Keith does on the AC30 and the history of it all. It's phenomenal. And actually, supposedly, according to Zach, this was his book. This was his book that he used in the making of that, and sold it to Zach, and I've borrowed it. And Zach, I just ordered my own. I found one on Amazon, so this one's coming back to you. All right. Well, until next week, take care, everybody.